Well, welcome, ladies. So excited to be here to have this conversation, just an open dialogue and talk about spirituality and dentistry and in our lives. My name is Shireen Washington, and we have Lori Bullock.
Hello.
And we have the amazing Dr. Kim Harms, who's joining us, who has agreed to do this with us. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm just so excited to do this with you, Shireen.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, before we get started, we're going to do just a little ritual. I'm going to light a candle, all right, so that we can set an intention. I'll set an intention, and you all let me know if you are okay with this intention. So I have I don't know if you all can see this because I have a virtual background. But what I'm thinking is us lighting this candle is just kind of setting the intention and creating space so that we have a relaxed conversation and we speak from our heart, right? Without fear of wondering, well, will somebody think this about me because I'm talking about spirituality or I'm talking about the creator or what have you. That is the intention. Is that okay with you all? How do you all feel about it?
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Thank you.
And then Lori, I would love it. This is your area of expertise. Would you be so to lead us in a centering breath before we begin with the questions, if that's okay?
Absolutely. So I would invite all of us to sit up tall and roll our shoulders back and down, and maybe close our eyes and soften our jaw, even reaching up and just a little jaw massage, or if you have a headache, a little forehead or temple love. And as we arrive here in this moment together, bringing in some breath and letting it go. Maybe you're bringing breath in through your nose or mouth. Either one is great. Maybe you're letting it go through your nose or mouth, releasing tension, releasing expectation, and again, just being in this state of presence, relaxed and open. One more breath together. Inhale. Let it go. Exhale. And let's arrive here, opening our eyes and spending this time together.
Thank you so much for that.
You're
Awesome.
welcome.
So, Dr. Kim, you are a member of spirituality and dentistry. And I'm curious to know when you got the invite, this is like a new concept. Even creating this group was kind of like, how's the response going to be? And it's been great. When you saw that there was a group on Facebook called Spirituality and Dentistry, what was it with respect to what you might have felt on the inside or what you might have thought when you got the invite?
Well, my thought on the inside was, hallelujah, it's about time. You have to realize, I'm 67 years old. I have been around the block a lot of times. I've been in leadership positions. I was a school board chair. I was a state dental president of the State Dental Association. I worked for the ADA for many years, 21 years. I was a spokesperson, and I had to do everything in the secular version. I could not, in those areas, talk about what is really important to me, and that is the spiritual side. That is my relationship with God. And sometimes it's hard to talk about issues of importance if you can't bring that in. So for me, when I saw that, I just was so excited, and it was a very freeing thing for me to be able to talk the truth, to be able to say what you really think and not be kind of pigeonholed or not able to talk about things that you really felt because they were kind of taboo topics.
Yeah.
And so I just was very excited.
Awesome.
That's beautiful. I do. That brings up a question, well, several questions for me. First of all, congratulations on all of those positions you held, and thank you for your service. And like you said, it must feel so good to just allow both of those worlds to come together. That's how I felt too when I saw spirituality and dentistry. I was like, hey, wow, fun. Let's see what happens here. So, how would you define spirituality? Just you off the top of your head.
Well,
Yeah.
for me, it's my relationship with God. I'm a Christian, my relationship with God and with Jesus Christ. It's a one-on-one relationship. It is my walk throughout my life, and I look to him for guidance. What should I be doing now? No matter what happens to us, I look for the joy of the Lord is my strength, is what is kind of what keeps me going. And to me, it's that one-on-one relationship.
Hmm. I love
Beautiful.
that stood out to me, the one-on-one, right? And potentially building that relationship so strong that you can either feel what you're supposed to do or feel God's presence, hear potentially.
Mhm.
If those, just out of curiosity.
Well, I'm waiting to hear because I would really like a checklist. I've kind of asked him for that many. I'd like a checklist. Okay, now what do you want me to do now? Because I've had a lot of things in my life happen and pivoting here and pivoting there. And it's like, really, what do you want me to do now? I would love a checklist, but that's not how he works. And part of the being being an earthly being with a God, all-encompassing God, he does it his way. He doesn't necessarily do it my way. And I've never heard him say anything. I have never had a real definitive calling, any miraculous things that I could see. But I do have a feeling, and I do feel him prodding. I actually have had a few times in life when I've felt that assurance that he's there. And but I really wish that he would give me a checklist and say, okay, now Kim, this is your 67 now. Now for the rest of your life, this is what I would like you to do. And I could just, we're dentists. We like to check things off. We got a 2 millimeters here, a millimeter there, check it off, check it off. He doesn't do that, but he gives me the joy, that the internal peace, the peace that passes all understanding that I just can't even explain. And the joy that I have is completely from him. And so I'm just very grateful.
Hmm.
I would
Wow.
like a checklist, please. Say it.
Well, I noticed something though when we were talking earlier and going back and forth a little bit. I saw from you this morning after I got dressed. After I got dressed, I saw that your two basic things that you go with is love God and love people. Guess what shirt I already had
There
on?
you go. It's that simple. It's that simple.
So I was
And when you
like,
do
ah,
that, everything else just falls in place.
exactly.
Everything else falls in place.
So simple. So there's your checklist. Two
Yeah.
things.
Right there. Love God, love people. Yeah, I guess that is true. That is true. And the other purpose that he really has, if you study the Bible, it's to love God, love people, and glorify him. So
Hmm.
those are three. But I kind of wish he would say, now, Kim, the way you do that is A, B,
Right,
C. But
right.
that's a part. So you're right. He did give me a checklist. He did. Thank you. And
No,
so
I
I
just think it
really,
was confirmation that I was
yes,
already wearing that shirt when I
yes,
read that you were
yes,
thinking that, and I thought,
yes,
okay, I've just got to
yeah,
testify and just be a second witness to that.
yeah.
So, yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
She wants that detailed list. That's
I
funny.
would like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you told us you're a Christian.
Yes.
Has that been the same your whole life, or
I've been a
what's your
Christian my
journey?
whole life. I was Catholic for the first part, and then I went to Catholic school, and I was very grateful for my Catholic education. I loved it, and then I married a Baptist. So I just kind of became a Baptist because we're all going to church. I really don't see each of the churches has different theology about this or about that, but the love God, love people is common no matter where you go. So I don't really. I go to a Baptist church because I've been going there for 30 years. They know me. They've been through life with me. I feel a part of that community, which I think that's why churches are nice, because you have a community of believers. My
Yeah.
daughter, who was raised Baptist, is now Catholic, so it's we go both ways. And but to me, there's no difference. In fact, I work a lot in Rwanda, and it's one of the things that I was really impressed with there is there all are different denominations, but you don't have everybody feels like they're worshiping the same God, and you don't see the divisions there that we see here. So there's a lot we can learn from other cultures as well.
Hmm.
But it's love God, love people, and find your people, find your tribe, and that's I
Support
guess
each other.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what's important.
Hmm. So nice.
Mhm. Okay. When you think about spiritual role models or mentors, what comes to mind?
Well,
Who-
Mother Teresa is my role model because she basically gave her life which is what God tells us to do, to be the hands and feet of Jesus, right? So she was the hands and feet of Jesus and went to the poorest of the poor and gave her life. I just think she was such an amazing role model for all of us. And then I love Billy Graham, so the Catholic, the Protestant, I love both of them. Billy Graham, I thought was someone who could bring the message of Jesus to the world in a very effective way. And my mother, who was mentally ill, but she was a wonderful role model to me. And I work with a woman named Naomi Rohde, and you might not remember her, but some of the older dentists, she was a terrific speaker in dentistry. She was a dental hygienist, and she was president of the National Speakers Association and then president of the International Speakers Association. She was a really big deal. She's about 85 or 86 now. And when my husband died, 2 days after my husband died, she called and said, "Kim, I'm seeing these women all around me who are becoming widows, and I wanted to do a support group for them." And a week after my husband died, I was in a support group with Naomi Rohde and 8 other widows. And she, again, is reaching out the hands and feet to help people. And we're still meeting. It's been 3 years. We just can't stop. Now we don't know what to call ourselves. It's not really a grief group anymore, but we're trying to, but we can't leave. We're every Tuesday at 10 o'clock, we have to meet no matter what. So people like that actually reach out to help people in times of need are a real role model to me.
Is there something more to that?
Yes, I actually wrote a book,
Okay.
The Widows Club.
Okay.
And it's a 1-year devotional for widows. And I've been working with widows. So she ministered to me, and this is kind of how it works, right? And in the Bible, it tells us so in the Bible. God ministered to us, and then now it's our job to go and minister to others. So we wrote a book, Naomi and I, and it's a 1-year devotional for widows. And I actually have another group that I'm just finishing up a local group within my church and local areas where we're just finishing up the year of devotionals. It's like a grief share, but specifically for widows. And again, there's so much joy in helping others. I mean, one of the best ways to help yourself to work out of the grief pit is to go out and help other people. That's part of, I think, that peace that God gives us, is to help us do that. But so she was a definite role model for me, and now I'm trying to do, help and do the same thing that she did for me for other people.
I love it.
Wow.
Well, when we first started, we were talking about other passions and things that you're into. Can you expand a little bit on that?
Yes. Well, I've lost a lot of people in my life. I lost my mother and my son to suicide, which was a horrible time in my life. So I've been down in the depth of the grief pit with maybe one nostril, inhaling some air. I've been down there. And then my husband, just 3 years ago, died with what I consider a broken heart. He had congestive heart failure, but when my son died, he was never the same. He was strong, and my husband, suicide has a lot of repercussions. And so after my husband died, I really got to see the effect that death has on everyone around us. When my son died at first, that was such a shock that I couldn't really see what was going on around me, because I was down in that pit. When you're down in that pit, you can't see anything. There's no windows down there. So, but now with my husband dying, I was able to look around and see my children and my grandchildren and what effect that had on them, because they weren't really emotionally prepared for his death. We all know that's going to happen at some point in time, but we're never ready. So I started to think, now what can I do? Because I'm next, and I've asked Jesus for me to be next. Who knows what's going to happen, but I don't want anyone to go before me, because I'm next. I lost a child already. I don't want to lose another one. I'm next in line. So what do I do to help my children and my grandchildren cope and survive and to thrive in a time without me when I'm not here? So I started really researching all the things you need to do before you die. Now, we all know a lot of the things. You have a will, you have a healthcare directive, all of those things to make it easier when that time comes. And then I went over that list, and then I thought, well, what can we do to help those who we leave behind in an emotional matter? What can we do to help them cope better with our loss? And so I was researching that, and I wrote a book called Are You Ready? How to Build a Legacy to Die For, in which I talk about building legacy, because I think that's the first thing that you do. You build a legacy You provide them lots of love. And if your legacy is just that of love, you've done your job, because it's right there in the Bible, right? So legacy of love. So if you love them, maybe education might be one, art might be another. You provide legacies for them while you're living and show them how much you love them while you're living. But also you talk about the time when you're going to be gone. And I think that's one thing we don't do very well. So I talk to all my children, my grandchildren, say, when Nana's gone, this, and this, and in a positive way, not a scary way. And then all the things we really should be doing to help them when we go. First of all, I have a binder, a legacy binder with all my stuff in it. Car titles, every bit of information they need to know, my social security cards, all that stuff that they're going to have to find, after I go, all that detail stuff. But then legacy letters, writing letters to them, telling them how much I love them, telling them how much they meant to me and how my life was enriched by them. So that even after I die, I'm going to be sending them letters so that they know how much I love them. And, maybe even little gifts you could buy for the first year or so, but just to let them know that it's okay. This is a normal part of life. This is expected. You're going to be sad. And I talk about the tasks of mourning, which are very, very important. This is what you're going to go through. This is what's expected. But I want you to have a happy, healthy life. I want you to flourish without me, because that's my legacy, is your flourishing. So go out and flourish. So that's my message now, is just to teach our kids to go out and flourish without us.
Wow. Can I just say, that is so beautiful. And I've been thinking along some of those same lines. I've lost a grandmother in the last couple weeks, and just this morning found out a friend lost her husband. And there's so much to that grief pit. And I guess I need to buy your book. But I've also been looking, I pulled out our will and was going to update it and just make sure things are easier for our kids. But I'm going to title it The Legacy Binder, and I'm going to add love notes. That's so, so sweet. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
I have to share something with you all, because this is nothing but God. For the past 4 days, I've been researching certification programs for end of life doulas, because literally, God was like, Shireen, if you're going to do end of life labyrinth walks, you need to be educated in being able to help people before all weekend. In fact, I spoke to someone today who offers a certification program. I speak to someone tomorrow. And I just was praying, like, God, give me a sign. I don't know anybody. And here we are talking about this right now. Dr. Kim, you've got him all over you. I'm seriously.
It's the list. It's the list. And I got certified. I got certified as an end of life doula this summer last time before I wrote the book, because I wanted to get at least that information. And it's a wonderful program. There are many wonderful programs out there, but
so many. Yeah. Which one did you go to, if you don't mind me asking?
I went to, now I can't remember right off the top of my head, but I'll send it to you. I can't remember the name of it, but it was an online course. But now I have another friend. So I'm selling these programs. I don't even get a commission, but I have another friend who is taking some of these as well, because we're all we're in that same place where we're realizing, boy, we can be of help. And there's such a need for people. I'm a baby boomer, and for people my age to really prepare for the end of life. I have, in fact, on Easter Saturday, I went to visit my niece who's in hospice. She's in her early 50s and she's dying from cancer. She has 2 kids, and she was in a bed in the middle of the living room. And we had the table set up at the foot of her bed, and we were all there, and we had a wonderful, wonderful time. And last year I had the privilege, she's been terminal for a while, where she came to my house and she stayed, and she's my niece, and we had a sleepover. She stayed, like pajama party here, and she wrote up the letters to her kids. And I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about it. I was just so grateful, and I thank God for bringing me here, because to me there's that sacred time when my husband was in hospice too, that sacred time when somebody knows they're dying, and technically we all are. We should all really be thinking that way. But when you know like the time, when you've got like a clock ticking and there's a couple of weeks left, you start thinking differently. And it's a very, very sacred time to spend with people. And I that's kind of, as I move through my my last quarter of life, I want to work with that group. We'll have to talk. We'll have to talk about that.
Yeah, Lord might be getting ideas too. But you know what? My father, who's in his 70s, he always says, this is his famous words. He actually talked to me about it yesterday. He said, we are all facing the end game.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter how old you are. You can be
Mhm.
20, you could be 60, 70. We're all facing the end game. We don't know.
You don't know. You
But
don't know.
think about all the people who are not prepared,
Yeah.
and they don't know. So that's that end of life doula is like a ministry. It's so
Yes.
wow.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll
Okay.
have to talk. Talk about that one.
Wow. Oh, God's hand.
Mhm.
Sometimes we see it, sometimes we don't, but it's always there. Is there anything else you want to share with us? I mean, you've got so much goodness in you. And what would you want the people in this group who watch this to see and hear and feel that maybe hasn't come up yet?
I would like everyone to think about what they would do if they knew that in 30 days they were going to be gone. What would they do? And that includes one big thing is reconciliation. Is there somebody out there that you need to forgive?
Mm,
Forgiveness is so important to be able to forgive. Even maybe it's yourself. You might need to just forgive yourself. But forgiveness, and remember, Christ forgave us. I mean, he's the role model of forgiveness. God is a role model of forgiveness. Um, to reach out to become a peacemaker within your family and to prepare your life and I really do believe in my little legacy journal to have it so that if you were to die today you would be ready. The people that were to come and try to take care of things would be ready, because how many of us know of families where they're not ready? And I just lost a classmate of mine with no will. The kids are now, they have to go through probate, which might take a couple of years, and they don't have money for the funeral. And there's when we die, there's going to be a lot of grief anyway, just from the lack of our presence.
That's
What
right.
can we do to make things easier and better and to show our love beyond the grave
mhm,
to our family by being prepared and having everything in order, including any type of reconciliation that needs to be done, any type of love letters you want to send, but
mm,
just live your life. Think about what you need to do if you were to die in 30 days. And the reality is, I speak a lot to baby boomers because we know our times, we know that fourth quarter clock is ticking for us, but it could be ticking for you too, and you just don't know it. I lost my son at 19. You know, he did not have a long life, but live
yeah,
your legacy now and then prepare for a time when you're not here.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Those are some wise words. Thank you for sharing. Shireen, anything else from you?
I feel so complete right now. Like
Mm,
it's one of those things that's like you have these conversations and you can have a list of questions and things you want to, but you don't know what the Holy Spirit will bring about, right? Um, and so you've just touched me so, and you've answered questions that I've been thinking about over the past couple of days. So you never know who's going to be a blessing. You're coming here to bless
Mhm.
the group and to share your insights and your stories, and you're blessing me in less than 3 minutes. And I'm so grateful for that. And I'm so grateful for you taking the time to speak with us today and to be willing to share this information, little snippets online, because I often think when I send invites out to spirituality and dentistry, I kind of think, I wonder if someone sees it and they're like, but if they see this, right, maybe it'll make a difference. Maybe it'll bring someone closer to Jesus and they can remain anonymous. They don't even have to post anything if they don't want to, but that's God's work. He
Mhm.
wants to share his good news to build the kingdom. And you did that for us today.
Well,
So
thank you. It's been a blessing to be on this podcast, and I'm so glad to have gotten the opportunity. And I was so excited when I saw that the first time I saw spirituality dentistry. I was like, going, "Woo! Finally, I'm free. I can talk. I can get it out."
yes, yes. Oh, well, there's more that you can share, I'm sure.
Mhm.
So keep sharing your love and your light. And it is felt, it is going to be seen and heard, and yeah, just keep letting it echo.
All right, you ladies have a beautiful, blessed day.
You too.
Thank you. Bye.